welcome back to episode 6 of the Switchback with Connor Pack. Today, I'm here with my executive producer. You might know who she is. Introduce yourself, executive producer.
Well, first of all, I'm honored to be an executive producer.
Yep.
It's been a hard journey to get to this
It
point.
has been.
But definitely God is in the details. My name is Anna Stringham.
Oh, wait. You were, on this before.
I was on this before.
Wow. So how has being the executive producer, changed your life?
It's changed my life in more ways than I could ever recount. But
Wow.
I'd say the first is that just knowing that I've, purpose and meaning in the world.
Totally. Because you didn't have that before, but...
No.
Okay, now you do.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, producer, who are we interviewing today? Also, sorry, we have popcorn on set. Set being my parents' basement, and we are going to have popcorn noises today. So anyways, who's the guest, though?
Oh, I'm saying the
You're
guest.
saying who the guest is.
The
You're
guest
gonna introduce him, really, subtly.
The
and,
guest is the one and only, the recently returned from Adelaide, Australia.
What?
A foreign land.
Foreign.
Is the Jeven Coles.
Whoa,
who is,
welcome.
fun fact, also our cousin.
Yes.
Me and
He's
Jeven are
my
second cousin.
And we're
Third cousin.
Third cousins once removed.
Wait, what are you guys, your second
And a
cousins?
half.
We're second cousins
I know
because
that.
his dad is my dad's cousin.
No.
And
No, your
you're-
grandpa. Your grandpa is my
Yeah.
dad's
What
cousin.
are we again?
Exactly.
We're third, but, that means our grandparents or
Your...
cousin? Yeah.
Yeah. So your mum and my mum are second cousins once removed. I'm not sure which side the removal is on, though. I don't know if you're further along the generations or if I'm further along the generations. But either which way, you're, a step ahead or behind me when
Uh-huh.
it comes to, children.
So, I think I'm a generation below Anna. And so
Yeah.
she's, older at heart, and I'm, fluent in,
heart, for sure.
brain rot and stuff. And, it's just, there's, differences. And,
Yeah.
I can say, things like the Rizzler, and she doesn't know what that means.
And I'd never.
Because she's
Yeah.
so old.
Yeah.
Even though I'm older than her. But anyways, Jeven,
Mm-hmm.
this episode is Learn from Jevi.
Oh, no.
So, Jeven, who is Jeven? I don't think all the many listeners worldwide
So...
don't know who Jeven is.
I am a local Calgarian.
Local.
Was born here, was raised most of my childhood here, then dipped over to New Zealand for a little while, specifically a small town called New Plymouth, also known as the armpit of New Zealand. It's a nice place though, trust me. And yeah, lived there for about 5 years and then came back, finished up high school, did a little bit of junior high here as well. And then after that, went to Adelaide, Australia for 2 years. That was fun. And then just recently returned, maybe 2 weeks, 3 days ago, something like that.
Yeah, just approximately 17 days ago.
Yeah, approximately. Give or take.
A few
hours.
minutes.
Not like I'm counting up right
No. Crazy. Is
Yeah.
that my dog? It is my dog.
Ruby.
Ruby. So Ruby's my dog, and she loves popcorn, but she can't have it. And she also loves Jeven lots more than me. Don't unplug anything. That would suck. Okay. When I got home from my mission, she freaked out for a minute for me. Then when Jeven got home, she freaked out for 20 minutes.
That's 20 times better.
So yeah, Jeven's the best.
And I have to say, Ruby didn't do anything when I got here.
Yeah. So she has her favorites. So anyways,
Very particular.
because Ruby loves Jeven so
Sexist.
much, we have so much to learn from Jeven.
Oh, jeez.
But first, I want to tell a story about Jeven.
Mm-hmm.
One time I was 14, 15. I think I was 15. And I was going to church for an activity. And there's this new kid in the ward named Jeven. And I didn't know Jeven. But actually I did. Because one time when I was, the day grade 2 ended, we went to Suquamish Lake.
Yeah.
And I was just playing with you and your sister. And we were just vibing for 3-4 hours, just chilling.
Mm-hmm.
And then we left. We're like, bye. And my mom's like, you guys are cousins.
That is honestly the Calgary experience.
And then I didn't even, yeah. And then I didn't see you. And then, anyways, I went to this church activity. And everyone's just like, Jeven's at the top of the tree. I'm like, who's Jeven? And then you're at the top of the tree doing something. Remember that?
I do. I think I remember that. It was those pine trees.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, spruce trees.
Yeah.
Pardon me, you pine enthusiasts. But no, I don't know why I was at the top of those trees. I remember it was fun though.
Right.
I think I like jumped out the side and like slid down the like branches because spruce trees, they're very like Christmas like, and so you jump off and then you can kind of like slide down it.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So Jeven was up in the tree, and then me and Jeven started going to the swimming pools together, and then we started doing things, and then I'm not really sure the story was going, but I just was trying to say I know Jeven. And one time, we were driving to a New Year's Eve dance, and we were just chilling. And then your neighbors started launching fireworks into the middle of the street off their driveway, and you just got your first cell phone, and the fireworks were exploding everywhere, and the first call you made was 911 because they were trying to like, almost hit us.
Yeah, I felt like they aimed at us with those fireworks.
It was kind of sketch.
They went right past us, and I was kind of like, that's not great. And so New Year's Eve, we called 911. That was the first phone call I ever made on my new phone.
Crazy.
That reminds me of a time where I'm pretty sure this is you. Just came back to me. I haven't thought about this in years. But we're driving, and then you noticed that there were sprinklers on for this one business, but it was raining.
And
you're
was
like,
there.
why? You were okay.
I was there.
Like, why do they have sprinklers on when it's raining? That's such a waste of water. And you called the city about it.
You called 301. I remember that now.
Don't.
I know it's business, but I can't
But
call them out.
honestly, that's a really good way to save the planet.
Yeah.
So Jeven
cares about the planet.
He's
and that's
an
something
arborist. He's a
that I
parkour enthusiast. He's a law-abiding citizen.
Yes.
And he's just the man, the myth, the legend.
Absolutely.
So before we get started learning, the theme of this episode is learning from Jeven with my executive producer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anna Stringham, yeah.
Anna Stringham, yeah. She's
Nice
just
to meet
producer
you.
now, but
We just shook hands.
you just okay, good.
Yeah.
But first, I want you to tell us the legend of the kangaroo carcass because I feel like this is just really important for us to learn from.
All right.
And go into as much or as little detail as you want, but also as much.
Yeah. I feel a little bit of a nudge in a direction, so I'll probably take that.
Follow the nudge.
I'll follow the nudge.
I just
I've
dropped
got
my
a good
phone.
sniffer, so yeah, I always follow those nudges. But no, so I was over in Australia, and while in Australia, I was well aware that I was going to have very limited weight that I can take home. And so I was trying to plan my souvenirs for just the best, awesomest things that I could possibly get my hands on. And I think I was doing pretty good. I had like a couple of really cool hats. I picked up a Nakubra from a op shop, if people
What's a
know
Nakubra?
what a Nakubra is. It's like the iconic Australian felt hat, you know?
Oh, I've seen that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the brand is like the OG hatter of Australia, basically. And so they're pretty cool. They're iconic, and I was pretty happy about that. That was definitely like a tick on the bucket list. But we're on this hike through this park with one of the like local members who took us up there in their car. And we're kind of hiking around, and they're pretty strict about how they treat this particular park, because apparently it's the like remaining 0.1% of untouched native vegetation in South Australia.
Okay.
Which kind of blows my mind. But
It's pretty special stuff.
yeah, pretty special stuff.
It's like the top 0.1% of South Australia.
Oh, honestly, it was gorgeous. Like, I loved it. But he takes us far left field and just takes us off the beaten trail. And there's all these signs everywhere of like, stick to the paths. And even some of the paths are closed. And it's like, do not go on this path. And so we're kind of like, ah. So we walk our way down to the bottom of this dam. And we're walking up the creek back towards the dam. And we look and we see in the creek that there's this like kangaroo skeleton just in the creek.
Nice.
And the first thing I thought was that head would make a phenomenal souvenir.
Yep.
And
That's what I would
so-
think too.
Me too, honestly.
Yeah.
That's what I would think for sure.
Like, that is so cool Like the kangaroo is the icon of Australia, and then like I have a kangaroo skull. Like who else in Canada has a kangaroo skull?
Nobody.
Yeah, probably not.
Maybe
It's-
someone.
Maybe
Actually,
like a
yes, but, I mean,
museum.
yeah.
There's weirdos everywhere, so
One person does.
exactly. But
They'll be the next guest on the
Yeah,
podcast.
they will be.
exactly, we'll hunt them down.
My executive producer will track them down.
I will.
I need to get that from them, and so we'll host them, and then we'll rob them.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
no one will know it was us.
This isn't incriminating at all. This is just
No.
our plan.
Exactly.
Facts.
But so we go, and it's kind of like a steep incline down to the creek, and I shimmy on down there, and I grab a stick, and there's 2 other people there with me, and I just start getting orders for like body parts that they want, and they're like, "Hey, can you grab the like pelvis?" And hey, I want a couple of like the vertebrae and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
The L4 and the L3.
Yeah. And so I'm like opening my bag and stuffing bones. It kind of smells pretty bad.
Did you get any funny bones?
No, unfortunately, I'm still.
That would have been hilarious
Yeah.
if you did, though.
I would have had a sense of humor, but
Dang it.
unfortunately, no, I got a couple vertebrae though, and all this other stuff. I stuck in my bag, which after that, I don't trust my bag anymore. I literally haven't used it since. And then I like
Good idea.
hung, yeah, I hung some of the stuff also from this like stick, so that I could hold the stick without holding the bones. I wasn't here to get exotic diseases, just exotic bones.
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
Right.
I grab a bunch of stuff, and then we like hike back up and then hike out and we hit the road, and we like stick the stuff in a bush, and we go grab the car, and then like drive back and like pull the stuff out of the bush, put it back in the car, and then like we head home. And it just sat in the back of our house for like 3 months or something like that, and didn't do much with it. I had a plan of what I was going to do. I was going to like boil it to process it. So you like boil it, and then you kind of like scrub off all the nasty bits, and you kind of like polish it up, and then you boil it with like dish soap concentrate.
Right. So how did you know this was the way to do it?
A little bit was just stuff that I knew already, but then also Facebook has wonderful tutorials
Oh,
on
it does.
how to clean bones.
Right. I should have known.
Which I didn't know that until I looked.
Right.
That's my favorite pastime is to watch those.
Right.
Videos on Facebook specifically.
Yeah, never YouTube.
No,
Usually
Facebook
Facebook.
is
Usually
like
top notch
Yeah.
video streaming service. It's just
Yep.
all you could ever need.
Incredible quality.
Exactly.
really good.
Yeah. And so learn from that. I was going to boil, then degrease with like dish soap concentrate, and then you normally bleach it with like hydrogen peroxide. And all of this you do like in a pot, like you're boiling it. And it takes like a couple hours for each process.
Dang.
And I didn't want to do that in our house because
Right.
that would be gross.
It would be.
And seeing as how we're just like we're living in flats, which is what they call apartments over there, but of varying qualities. They call flats also like complex houses or like townhouses and stuff like that.
So what if like the flat was like a triple split level?
A triple split level.
You know, like you
still
know,
call
like-
it a flat.
but it's not.
I know, but
What if it was round? Wait, no, I could still be flat.
That is true.
Take that back. Take it back.
What
You
if
know-
it was like there it was all on a slope and like the center of the room was like the kangaroo higher
so not flat.
and then like the whole thing
What
is
if
just
you
like
were living in a bouncy ball?
yeah.
That's not a flat.
They didn't
Still
consider that
flat.
when they named it that.
We're actually never flat because the Earth isn't.
Oh,
Well, the listeners at home can't see my hands, but right now I'm making like a round hand thing, right? So the bottom of our shoes aren't like this. They're flat.
oh,
So if the earth was round, the bottom of our shoes would be round.
my gosh.
And
Well,
so
but if you look at our feet, they're arched.
They are
well,
curved.
that's just
Why are they curved?
Oh,
That's,
Because the
uh,
Earth isn't flat.
because I think that we have
that's a good point.
innate knowledge embedded in our feet that we haven't just
We
applied
need
to,
to-
shoes.
Well, so the earth was flat, but our arches made it round.
maybe.
So the
After
parts
Yeah, maybe
millions
because we've
of
walked on it
years.
so
Yeah.
much. And no, like when you have like a nice new piece of clay, it's always flat. You start molding it around, it's always well.
Right.
Exactly.
It was our feet.
It was our
It's like
feet.
mountains
Humans' feet.
have yet to be.
That's why God had to make man so that the earth could be molded
That's
by our feet.
Yep. That's.
Anyways,
Anyway, so go ahead. Sorry, I just was.
continue on this
No,
story.
no.
You were boiling bones?
We digress.
Boiling bones, but I didn't because I didn't want to do it in the house. And so I was going to borrow someone's barbecue or do it on someone's barbecue. And
Wait,
the
you're gonna-
people that I was planning on, they were awesome. The guy's name was Rory.
I'm
and-
getting popcorn.
Good.
Sorry, keep on going.
He was so keen. He was totally down for it. And he's like, oh, yeah. But his wife was pregnant. And, like, the week that we were going to do it, she unexpectedly went into labor and gave birth. And it was so funny because...
I mean, that's kind of important.
Yeah, totally. Next time we saw them
What are you talking about? His bones.
I know, my bones are important.
That's more important.
My bones are bigger than that baby. Physically. Maybe
Okay.
not importantly,
Okay,
but, like,
okay.
physically.
Physically, they're bigger.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe
That's
not.
an important note, actually.
Actually, no, they wouldn't.
This is a
because I
big
had the
kangaroo.
pelvis at that point. But yeah, so we were gonna do it with Rory. I kind of like mentioned it a couple of times, and he seemed like he was ready, or not ready, but like he was like, "Oh, that sounds like an interesting idea." And then before I could get up the guts to like give like a full pitch on like how we were gonna do it, yeah, his wife gave birth, and the next time we saw them. Was actually at like a supermarket down the street, and it didn't click until like 5 minutes into talking with them that like, oh wait, you're not pregnant anymore. And it was so funny.
Did they have a baby with them?
No, because it was at the hospital. It was premature, and so
Okay.
Wait, was the wife at the house?
yeah, the wife was there at the store.
Oh,
That's
their
why
baby was just in the
was
NICU?
at the hospital. Yeah, it
I
was,
see, I
yeah,
see,
yeah.
I see.
And so they were visiting, and then they had to go buy some groceries, and then they had to like go home, and then like that was like the cycle that they were doing.
Okay.
Was, like,
Was the
visiting.
baby okay in the end?
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Okay,
Good.
that's good.
Happy, healthy. As far as I know, there's like nothing else that is
That's so
going
good.
wrong, and so yeah,
Way to go, baby.
yeah. But
Shout
yeah,
out to that baby.
Shout out to that baby.
Shout out to that baby for pulling through.
Exactly. I don't even know if you're old enough to like speak yet
One
or
day.
understand words, but yeah, you've been shout out in this podcast, and that's cool.
This baby already has more shout out in podcasts than I, than
Oh my gosh, that is a good point.
Anyways, you were saying.
Yeah, so that kind of like shot that right down. I didn't even ask because how rude would that be? Like these guys are so busy, and so they don't need me boiling bones in their backyard like a creep.
Yeah.
And so instead, I just left him alone for a while, and then we ended up moving into like North Adelaide, which is just outside the north end of the like central business district. They call it the CBD. It's basically downtown. If you think just north of the Peace Bridge here in Calgary,
Yeah.
kind of like that residential zone,
Yeah.
it's like that. But lots of shopping as well. That's also where I picked up my hat. So
Okay.
yeah. And we were living in like an apartment complex, but it wasn't like one of the high rises. It was like a complex of buildings, maybe 4 stories tall. Each like floor is composed of maybe like 5 like individual units, and then there's maybe like 4 of these buildings positioned around like a central courtyard and a parking lot, and then there's kind of like a laundry pen to the corner that's made out of concrete as well. And yeah, so we moved into this area, and this is getting really long, so I'm going to cut it really short. Basically, we're wandering around trying to find food in this like northern central business district, and it's late at night, it's dark, and we see this shopping cart that's like chained up to this lamp. No, sorry, it's chained up to a like one of those bike rack things.
Right.
And then there's like a lamp over top of it that's just perfectly illuminating it. And inside, exactly,
Stuff.
inside of the shopping cart was a camping stove.
So do you think you stole it from a homeless person?
Probably, but
You probably did.
they likely were
Did you
making meth with
return
it, and so I would like to think that I ran an intervention.
Yeah.
What if they were just cooking rice,
That's true.
Also, the shopping cart was locked up, but not the stove. If you didn't want the stove taken, It was the only thing in there, too. It could have been just someone throwing out their trash. The Australians,
That's true.
they are very different from, like, the Canadians in that if they have trash, they just throw it out front of their house, and then it's fair game. Like, anything that's not on your property is considered just fair game. Like, you can go through it, you can take it home. There were so many times we did service for people where we're just taking out their trash to the front so then, like, the city can take it away. And then as we're doing it, people are, like, pulling up and, like, checking it out, seeing if there's anything they want to grab. They're like, hey, can I come around the back and see what you guys are getting rid of? And it's like, sure, it's not my house. Go ask the owner. And then they're, like, going through all the stuff and, like, oh, you know? And then they're calling up their friend Billy Bob Joe in order to, like, hey, man, I found this really cool, like,
Kangaroo stall.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's the weirdest stuff that they're like, oh, it's missing a wheel. You know, I happen to have a wheel back home, so I'll just slap one on.
Yeah.
And so kind of thrifty in that way, but at the same time, like, there's other people who just throw their trash out front and then don't call the city and don't go through the process, and that's kind of like, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
And so I figure either I ran an intervention or it was just someone's trash.
Right.
It was covered in grease. And
Okay.
didn't look like it was.
So they were done with it.
They're probably done with it. There was
Uh-huh.
no one else on that street. It was like late at night. Like, I doubt I didn't like pull it out of someone's belongings. It was
Yeah.
just the only thing in this cart.
Okay.
So I take it home.
So it was meant to be.
Exactly.
Basically, it was a gift from God.
It
Yeah.
was, honestly.
Basically.
I had that exact thought. The way it was illuminated, positioned, I'd been thinking about it and, like, kind of stressing. I'm like, what am I going to do with these bones? Oh, by the way, when I moved, I had to leave the pelvis behind because I didn't want to bring it. And so I gave it to some friends. Shout out to Mackenzie and Danica. You know who
Shout
they are.
out.
They're cool. They're awesome. They're fun.
They got a kangaroo pelvis.
They got a kangaroo pelvis, and yeah, it fit in their home so perfectly. I'm
They had
so
room for
pleased. They had room for it,
Okay.
That's wonderful.
and like it matched the aesthetic. I'm so pleased that they were able to receive this. Like it made my week.
I just imagine one of those like trendy YouTube videos, like, come see your house. And like, this room is the kangaroo pelvis room, and I was setting around. They have like a picture of you.
No, it doesn't. There needs to be no homage to me. Just the kangaroo.
Okay,
pelvis
just the
itself.
kangaroo.
Exactly.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, where were we? Oh yeah, so we got the burner. So that fixes my barbecue problem, right? And so we take this thing home, I clean it up. It is disgusting. It takes ages. I put it back together. And then we like go out to Kmart. Dude, Kmart is the best thing on planet Earth. You can buy the cheapest crap there, and it either lasts your entire life or breaks within 5 minutes. It's beautiful. And it's all produced by Anko, which is this one company in China that just like turns out anything you could imagine.
Incredible.
Like, it is incredible. They probably have like unicorn horn sharpeners and stuff like that in size XL if you really needed it.
Of course.
But
So wait, Kmart.
we go there, we
Okay.
buy like all the stuff we need, like some butane and some. They have butane, which I thought was nuts. Australians are kind of weird with some stuff, like knives and flammables and stuff like that. Like, they really don't like having that on display or in stores. And so normally there would be like dedicated stores. I kind of had to go around a little bit to find that stuff, but I just walked into Kmart and it was right there, and I was like, oh, it's been
Nice.
here the entire time. But yeah, bought a bunch of stuff for super cheap. And no, I need to cut this down. I'm gonna skip the funny story. And brought it home, and then we set this all up in the like laundry bin, or not laundry bin, sorry, in the laundry pen of our like apartment complex that's like outside and made of concrete. It's got like walls and stuff, and we're like cooking up these bones late at night, and I've got to watch it so that then it doesn't like boil over or whatever. And so I'm just sitting there in my sling chair, this IKEA sling chair, staring at this
Great
bones
chair.
boiling, on this like camping stove in the laundry pen of our apartment. And it probably looked like I was cooking meth. In fact, go ahead.
Sorry, this was important to you. I want to take a moment to reflect.
Yeah.
This was an important endeavor for you, right? You had butane, you had a stove, you had a kangaroo pelvis.
Yeah, this was, well, I didn't have the pelvis anymore. I only had the skull and some
Oh, right.
vertebrae.
So you gave it away before this.
I gave away the pelvis.
Okay.
Can I ask an important question?
Go for it.
What was the opinion of your various companions
So
throughout this whole process
Yeah.
of these kangaroo bones? Was your companion that you're living with at this time, was he also like, hurrah for these bones, let's go boil them, or was he kind of like, oh, this is, I don't know.
Well, so
Like, was he helping?
we had the one companion, we'll call him Elder A, who was over in Happy Valley, which was where I got the bones from and where the barbecue idea started, and where I left the Pelvis behind.
Of course, it was called Happy Valley.
Happy Valley, the valley of the happiest people on planet Earth. We were on bikes in that area, and obviously it's called Happy Valley, which implies hills. It wasn't as happy as they made you think.
I bet.
Like, my thighs have never been so big in my life. It was kind of scary.
Uh-huh.
But...
So Elder A was cool.
Elder A, he was cool with it. He was the guy making orders as I was down there scavenging bones. And he's like, give me one of these. And I think I gave him a couple of bones.
Nice.
But, yeah, that was cool. And then Elder H, who was over in North Adelaide, unfortunately... No, he was also cool. He was pro bone boiling, but he didn't want to be a part of it.
Pro bone, yeah.
Because it was cold outside.
Oh.
And so he was like, I want to be inside. And so, which...
Nice.
I'm glad they were supportive.
Yeah, they were supportive. Generally.
So you could say this was your dream.
Yeah, no, this was like... On my bucket list, I kid you not, I had a list of souvenirs I wanted to take home. As soon as I got these bones, I was like, kangaroo skull, top of the list. This needs to come home with me.
Top of the list. Well, just, reflecting on this moment, just all of us.
Yeah.
What dreams do we have? What kangaroo pelvises do we have in our lives that I just dropped a bunch of popcorn on the floor that we want to do? I don't know. Executive producer, word this better for me, please.
The kangaroo pelvis is symbolic of
It is.
of having a dream that some people might question. But when you have the right people around you, it can happen.
Yeah.
It can happen. So the question I think you're asking is, what are those dreams that maybe other people have questioned, and how have we come about those? How have we accomplished them despite that?
Yeah, that's why she's the executive producer, because she can communicate. So can you say that again? I was too focused on the fact you
yes.
said it right.
Can I comment real quick?
Yeah, please comment. Please comment.
Intense retroflexion, which they witnessed.
Right.
I was thinking hard. I think I have a lot of these in my life.
You have a lot of kangaroo pelvises in your life.
A lot of kangaroo pelvises in my life. Hobbies,
KPs.
ideas. KPs, yeah. Yeah, I've got a lot of KPs in my life.
I do too.
Just stuff people don't get.
So
okay, name the top three.
Top three KPs.
No. We'll go someone else.
Okay, what's your top three?
So can you repeat your question, Anna? That we're going off of this. I kind of forget what we're trying to.
So things that in your life people may misjudge or that you find cool yourself that we'll say generally those that you interact with, right? Your peers will say they disapprove of or not.
Is that accurate?
Or not understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
So our top three KPs.
Yeah.
In our lives,
Kangaroo
our kangaroo pelvis, pelvis.
Pelvis?
What is the plural of pelvises?
Pelvises.
I guess
Siri?
I think it's pelvis.
What is the
plural
word for pelvis? Pelvises?
Or pelvis or
pelvis.
pelvitins or something. I don't know. Okay, KPs. Let me think about that. If anyone has one that comes to mind, just shout it out.
I've got plenty, so I'll just wait my turn.
Okay. What's a KP in your life?
I had a
I'm just realizing that we're really
I wanted to. At one point in my life, I wanted to have a car detailing business.
I remember that.
And then I did it for a summer.
Let's go.
I did it for a summer, and some people, I remember showing up, and this one guy thought your dad would be coming or something. I'm like, hey, who said a 16-year-old girl can't clean your car?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was a girl boss moment.
Did you do a good job?
I actually did. I really enjoyed taking the videos, doing the before and afters.
I remember seeing that for 2 minutes.
I liked the Instagram
I do
aspect
remember that
of
being
it.
a thing, yeah.
Thank you.
I never got you to do my car. I would have paid big bucks to do that because it would have been fun. I trust my cousins. They're good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, number 1 of 3.
That's my number.
Car detailing.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Okay.
Sorry, too much
2,
pressure.
2 is, I would love to have a greenhouse one day.
A greenhouse?
A greenhouse.
Oh.
I wouldn't say that people have, judged that. But I would say, or, thought I couldn't do it, I guess. But I'm in agriculture, I'm going into agriculture. And a lot of people are like, well, are you gonna be a farmer? No, probably not. But I would like a greenhouse.
A greenhouse.
I feel like those people, were they your parents perhaps, or maybe other members of your family? Because
Perhaps. I
That
do
would
have an
check out.
aunt that has a greenhouse, I think. Maybe.
Wait, is
Okay.
that
Wait, I think it's your grandma.
my grandma? Yeah, I was gonna
Your
say.
grandma has a greenhouse.
I've been to that. She has multiple, and I've been there a gazillion
That's
times and
true.
done things in it.
Your
And they're
grandma and
very
my
cool.
aunt has a greenhouse.
I was like, wait a second. I think I know that aunt. Oh, wait a second. I have been to
That's
that
actually
greenhouse.
hilarious. I
Shout
had to
out
put
to
that
my
together.
grandma.
Yeah, so greenhouse.
Have I met your grandma?
So, okay. Cardio greenhouse. What's your last kangaroo pelvis?
My third is I would love to one day make like a pretty mediocre Christian rock song
Let's go.
and
Ooh.
put it on a Christian music station
See
because I just feel like sometimes I listen to them and I'm like, we could write that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like just like repeat something over and over.
Totally.
Yeah, that's
Well,
that's my number.
funny. Alex, I'm choking on the popcorn. Okay, funny you say that though. My first KP is sorry to explain what Jeven was saying. Yesterday, I went to a concert. Shout out to Chris Tomlin. Great concert. Loved it. He's like a Christian worship artist. Me and my friend Jason, previous guest on this podcast, and his wife Chelsea went to this concert. It was great. And one of the songs was like, like you like intro, like big intro, like we're all like feel the spirit. Yeah, like put your hands up, sing praises. Right. It was great. And the first line is like Yahweh, Yahweh, which great, right? It was just kind of. I don't know a lot about the doctrine of Yahweh, but it's something that I know. It was just funny because I didn't really think about it.
Facts.
But so, anyways, so funny you say that though. I want to be in a indie rock band one day.
Ooh.
Do it.
That is my KP, my number one.
I'll be your first subscriber.
I was
Alright.
first subscriber to my band. So I was. I
Is
have
this
lots of-
where like modern day and age has gone? Resubscribe to bands?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Subscribe
Nice.
to
I'll
bands.
buy a band tee. I'll buy
Uh-huh.
a band tee.
Subscribe. So like I think sometimes at work when I'm like, doing my mowing and stuff, I just have time to reflect on my KPs, right? My kangaroo pelvises in my life, right? That's what my brain goes to, right?
Yeah.
And this week I was thinking about, I like listening to rock music a lot. I have a playlist called Audio Coca-Cola I made last week, which is like I need to wake up when I'm driving, and so I just listen to this song. So like lots of 21 Pilots, lots of Jack White. You know Jack
I
White.
do know Jack White.
He has a new album,
Does he?
like as of like last week.
Which brand? Band.
With Jack White. It's just him.
Just Jack White.
Just Jack White.
Oh.
Just Jack
Anyways,
White.
it's great, right? So anyways,
Well, he has like 3 bands.
Yeah, he
I
has multiple,
can't
yeah.
with
Not
bands
Jack
and
Black,
brands.
as you might
Not
think,
Jack
but
Black,
Jack
No,
yeah.
not
White.
Jack Black.
a lot of him.
I would
It's
love
like
a Jack Black.
a lot of
album.
like
That would be good.
glass
He does have a band.
animals.
He does have a band, School of Rock. That hits.
Also, he does stuff in Tenacious D, and so
Yes, that's
Does
true.
Jack White know Jack Black?
probably
That's a good
they're both
question.
famous.
How come Jack Black hasn't done an album with Jack White?
They are like the same person, aren't they?
They are basically.
Wait, what? Are they
They're just-
actually the same
No,
person?
they're not. No,
Oh, I was like,
No, I was joking.
Please don't.
I was joking. They're like pretty different people.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Just
it's like
personality-wise.
Glass Animals, 21 Pilots, Coldplay,
Glass
like
Animals.
so they all have such cool names. And I like screaming lyrics in my car when I'm alone or in the house alone, like yeah, like I actually like to sing. It's great. But
Yeah.
I was brainstorming like names of an indie band if I'd have one.
yeah.
And so I just had like a time limit in my head, like KP indie band, go, right? Like so one that came to my mind was the Silver Screen Foxes. That sounds so stupid now they say it out loud. But it's like there's like a silver fox, like the wise old man,
I like that.
but like silver screen, like we're making movies in your ears, right? So anyways, number 1 KP.
Yeah.
Subscribe to my band. Second KP, I want to run a successful business. This is similar to Anna's, but not really. A successful business as a YouTuber.
Ooh.
I want to like write a book and have a subject I'm really knowledgeable about. I could write a book about the Switchback, but I could be an author.
So
Honestly, do it.
you actually bring that up, and I do have a question that's relevant
Okay.
to the podcast. In that,
Can you name
Are
it
we-
Kangaroo
oh,
Pelvis?
sorry.
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 Just
What
came to
was
my
that?
mind. I think you should name either your indie rock band or your book Kangaroo
Kangaroo
Pelvis.
pelvis.
Exactly.
I didn't even think of that.
That's actually a really good one.
'Kay.
Especially the indie rock band.
really tangent. Sorry, then you go on your tangent. Sorry. So if you've heard of the band Portugal the Man, like
Yes.
can't get good at myself.
Nope.
Right. So
Sorry.
how do you know how they got their name?
How?
It's like Portugal, comma the man. They're like, yo, bro, dap me up, right? They're like, we're gonna turn to a random page in this book. We're gonna put our finger down, and whatever 3 words are there is the name of our band. So they did that, and it was Portugal the man. They're like, let's go. So, anyways, Kangaroo Pelvis, just random story. That's my band name. But anyways,
Exactly.
ask
I
your
love it.
question. Sorry,
So when it's called the Switchback, we're like 6 tangents deep. I just realized. But
I don't even know where we're supposed. Yeah.
when it's called the Switchback,
Sub bullet like.
yes, bullet 8. So, you know when like you've got like main section here, and then you got like subsection, and they just got
It's just
arrows
a
that go
novel.
off.
And now we're on another one.
It's like so far off
Do you
to
guys
the
have
right.
to be home at a certain time? We can.
No, I'm good. I'm set. I'm solid. But so when it's called the Switchback, is this a switchback right now when you're talking about the ascent?
That's
up the,
so true.
Are we switchbacking right now and having a bit of a rest and just like
That's so
enjoying the
true.
view?
Yeah.
Is that the moment?
You
we're
might
having
be my
now?
new
This is-
executive producer.
Oh
Wait a
shoot! Sorry, she just ran away.
No, sorry, my new co. Like you guys are a team.
Oh,
you
we're a
both do
team.
Honestly,
it.
I
Let's
vibe
go.
with that.
Nice.
I
Let's
vibe
go.
with that.
Rock on.
Let's go.
Rock on. KP.
KP. Is that your question?
That was my question.
Okay.
Switchback. Yeah,
my
we're-
third
we're-
one. I want to run a marathon one day and be in amazing shape.
You could do it.
Is that
I'm running a 5K next month, so it's basically a marathon.
that is
Basically.
is that judged though? Is that like something that people are like?
Not really. So it's not a true KP, is it?
Because I feel like mine.
So my third one didn't count, but it also does count.
Oh, no, it totally counts. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I'm just now
You wouldn't judge me.
thinking about no, totally, mine and like maybe they're
So
too.
what are your KPs? What are your not the literal kangaroo pelvis that you lost?
Yeah. I
What
lost a
are
lot
your
of
KPs?
bones
What are your
in Australia.
KPs, Jeven?
I lost bones in Vancouver too. I would say one.
Spoiler. You just spoiled it. So we'll go back into that, but you just
Foreshadowing.
foreshadowed something.
I
Anyways,
did.
keep on going.
KPs.
KPs.
I would say that one KP would be that. I would say that's something that I'm doing. Just like if you pick any of my hobbies, to an extent, one of the things that I am doing a little bit successfully, is that I want to be more knowledgeable with like foraging and also foraying. There's a difference with like plants and mushrooms. Just like having that knowledge and being able to like exercise that knowledge effectively, right?
Sorry, when you said foraging, my mind went to like swords. You said mushrooms, and I got really confused.
I immediately
foraging-
thought of like bunnies foraging for like food.
Oh, foraging.
Basically, but I'm the bunny.
Do you say
I see.
foraging or foraging?
Foraging.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
side note, foraging is also another one of the interests that I have.
Okay, but foraging.
But foraging is different.
So explain.
Foraging.
Okay, so why is that your KP?
That's my KP because some people think it's weird because sometimes it manifests as being more interested in plants than others would think practical. Like you go for a hike in Banff per se with specific people and you've got like 3 books on the mushrooms of the area, the plants of the area, the edible and medicinal
Right.
plants, and then also like the rocks of the area because why
Oh.
not? I've got to carry that because my dad's a geologist, even if I don't use it much.
Shout out to your dad.
Shout out to my dad. He's
Which you did
awesome.
change. Sorry, subtangent. You changed the contact name for him when you called him that one time, right? You
No.
Did, so he was actually
totally
named.
did. I
Okay,
totally did.
because
I can't lie to you
he
for that.
called my
long.
dad. He called his dad on my phone, and he gives me the phone
That's a
back. He's
whole
like,
story.
"Why is your dad named Johnny Hot Boy Coles on my phone?"
No, Johnny Hot Body.
Hot Body.
Get it right. You're the one who said it first.
So really briefly, we were in teachers' quorum together, and I was like one day like, "Brother Coles, we should call you Hot Coles."
and then he just goes way too far. He's like, yeah, like Hot Body Coles or like Johnny Hot Body Coles, and you're just like going off.
But then he was telling like a few weeks ago when we were talking about this, he was like, imagine a bunch of like 14-year-olds like, yeah, this is our guardian, Johnny Hot Body Coles. Like, so
or like teachers' quorum, like the like church youth group, and someone's like, hey kids, what's up? And it's like, yeah, this is our leader.
Johnny Hot Buddy!
So what I'm hearing about Teacher's Quorum is that Jeven's in a tree. Connor is calling Jeven's dad Hot Buddy Coles. And
What?
Jeven's dad is...
And we won't explain this part,
Having
but
a
we
good
were
time.
Putting
gonna
out fires.
we were gonna
like a
beat up
champ.
the other ward at a cake party.
Oh my gosh! Cake behind the church. Be there. They
No
were
context needed. No time.
No context.
Anyways,
needed.
sorry.
They were stealing our crap. And
What's
so
your
it
second
was-
KP? Sorry.
Second KP. Yeah. Yeah, the first one was foraging.
Right.
I hatched some flack for that on the mission. I was known as the Mushroom Man, which I only acquired that like 3 months before I went home because the other companion I had also was into mushrooms.
And by mushroom, you don't mean...
No clarification.
mean
No specification.
the
No
like,
clarification.
drug. You don't mean those ones.
Can neither
Like the
confirm nor deny.
hallucinogen? Are we
I-
talking the hallucinogen or the just...
You were
nice
more of a
TikTok
Bill
video?
Nye than like a John Lennon.
Unable to comment. Yes, I was more of a
Okay.
Bill Nye,
Okay.
but I cannot comment on the other.
Okay.
Yeah, and so
Sorry. Second KP.
No.
KP, second KP. What's the second KP?
That story. Anyways, it's interesting though because I acquired the nickname, but he didn't. But we were both equally interested. I
Oh.
just was unafraid to pursue my dream.
He
But
was like your
anyways,
executive producer.
yeah, he was like my executive producer. Second KP. So I would say second KP would probably be
That was popcorn, by the way.
yeah. There's just so much. Well, one of them is I want to, and this is related. I want to like seasonally live in like a canvas teepee out in like Crown Land in the
Yeah.
foothills for like the winter, except for I go to school.
The
right
winter.
now. Or I'm going into school, so I can't really do that. Yeah, for the winter, like winter camp
Dang.
for like 2 months or
Dang.
3 months or 6 months or
I can
8
see
months.
you doing that. There's no
And-
mushrooms in the winter though.
It'd be awesome. Yeah, there's no mushrooms in the winter, but I feel like I could make a pretty good like winter camp and that'd be fun. But that's one that isn't off the ground yet, but that's like a dream of mine, an aspiration. I was trying to rope Connor into this actually. I was trying to get him to be one of the like sponsors, one of the like co-shareholders.
Oh yeah, of your
of
tent,
the
your
teepee.
teepee.
Yeah,
I didn't want
and
to pay.
the guy was not into it.
That was expensive.
Yeah, you were into it for like. Well, when I miscalculated the math, you were keen, and then I was like, wait, no, that's incorrect. And you were like,
And like 10
Absolutely
times the
not.
price. I'm like, ah.
well, yeah, because I calculated out. So we were calculating out a 30% share, right,
Right.
in this TP, and I was like, that would cost this much. But I had actually calculated a 3% share, and he was like, heck yeah, so easy. And then I broke to him the real price. It wasn't a bait and switch, I promise.
I mean, once I make a bunch of money at Kangaroo Pelvis, I'll be able to pay it. But
Exactly.
for right now,
So that's the
Yeah.
second KP.
second
then?
I'd
KP.
say that's the
What's your
second
third
KP.
KP?
Third KP is that. You know what? I'll go with foraging. I want to
Foraging this time.
foraging.
Okay.
Actually foraging. I want to learn how to forage. That's been an aspiration.
Forged in fire.
Dabbled a little bit with it, like as little as I can without an actual forge. So there's like a technique that you can do where you cool down like clay, and then you smack that with a hammer, and it has the same consistency as hot metal, except for it's called
Dang.
clay. Because
Gross.
yeah, I don't have hot coals in my backyard, unfortunately. So
Unless your dad's there, but
yeah, he does like the backyard a lot. So.
for the record, Jeven's last name is Coles. I don't know if we said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's why my dad was hot.
So that's your
coals.
third KP. Okay.
Yeah, that's my third.
Back to the story. Let's finish it off, and then I have a last reflective thing for us to reflect on.
This really took the whole time, didn't it?
So you were
It's fine.
boiling the bones.
Boiling
boiling
the
the bones. Let's go back to this.
Much to our neighbor's chagrin.
Chagrin. I haven't heard that word used in a sentence recently.
Really?
Anyways, go ahead.
It was on my mind recently.
I'm eating popcorn. It's just so interesting.
And now it's
Yeah.
on mine.
So yeah, and I'm like bouncing back and forth to check on it, like between the house and the place, and like I'm sitting down next to a sling chair. We set it up in the laundry room. I need to refresh people and remind them. The laundry pen is like an outdoor concrete, like roofless building basically with no roof, and then people like hang up their laundry to dry out there. There's no like laundry machines or anything. There's also a bike rack.
Yeah.
And we like set it up in the corner, far away from everyone's laundry and stuff. There was only one person who had their laundry out. And then when we're like leaving, there's this guy. When I'm leaving, there's this guy heading to the pen with a full load of laundry to like hang up. And I had a moment of indecision where I was like, should I tell him? Should I not tell him? Should I be weird or not weird? And so I decided, whatever, guy can think what he wants. And then I go back inside. And then I'm just like stressing the whole time. Where this guy thinks I'm like cooking meth or something. Surely he's bad for drugs. But I was just hoping that he didn't. And so when I went back to check, coincidentally, a guy was coming out. And so we passed each other and I'm like, oh, like, good evening, how you doing? And guy totally looks 45 degrees up and to the left and just hastens his walk and just ignores me completely. I'm like, yeah, he totally thinks I'm crazy. And I walk in, and he set up his laundry right over top where we're boiling these, like, rotten, gross kangaroo bones.
Damn.
They're not that rotten or gross, but they're kind of a little
They're
smelly.
boiled.
They're boiling. It's like...
But no pelvis.
Yeah, no pelvis. It's gross. And so I feel bad. I moved my stuff out from under his fresh laundry, which smelled fantastic, so that then I didn't sully his clean clothes, and then proceeded to finish boiling the bones, and then package it all up.
Right.
And next
now you're
day,
heading home.
Yeah. No, I tried to post it.
Right.
3 times. Didn't work. The guy kept coming up with different excuses as to why. He would look up on his computer and be like, oh, actually, Canada doesn't allow the importation of animal products. And I'm like, well, that's a generalization because I can ship leather to Canada, right? And so
Holes
at what
in
point...
the system.
Yeah, well, what point does it stop being an animal product? And so...
So that didn't work.
Yeah, didn't work.
Did you get it out of Australia?
I got it out of Australia.
Okay.
And so I ended up just packaging in my luggage.
Okay.
Because it weighs nothing.
Right.
And I brought it with me, and we went to Sydney, and we went to Vancouver.
Chill.
Everything's fine.
Chill.
And that flight was so long. Holy moly.
I bet.
Watched like 2 Lord of the Rings movies and also the new Dune, which was awesome. That was pretty good.
Shout out to Timmy C.
Yeah, exactly. And then I get down in Vancouver and they're like, hey, you got to go through customs. And so I go through customs, and this is where we start to learn, kiddies. Well, I guess we've learned a little bit already about how to like boil bones and stuff. Google it, and you'll learn more than what I've told you. This is not comprehensive by any means. But if you want to smuggle bones out of country, don't declare them at customs.
Good to know.
Especially if you've processed them, like I had. I kind of declared it, and I feel like I made people think that they were just like whatever raw bones, but no, I degreased them. They've been all cleaned up, and like they're just shiny white bones now at this point, like something you would buy at a souvenir shop, basically. Yeah. Out in the middle of nowhere, which is what I should have said. But no, I just declared that I had kangaroo bones in my bag. Idea. And so the lady takes a look at it, at my declaration, and she's like, so you're going to go need to see agriculture. And I knew at that point that I was stuffed, because no way am I getting through agriculture, like customs, without like a permit or anything like that. If they're sending me to agriculture, they think that what I have needs to go through agriculture.
As an agriculture student, do you concur?
You know, and I don't deal that often
with
kangaroo bones, but what I do know is usually it's just about dirt.
Yeah.
What? Sorry, what do you mean?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
They treated it like an agricultural import, like I was importing a whole freaking kangaroo for like agricultural purposes. No, I just had the thing's skull, and it was a souvenir. I should have just written down. So I should have not declared anything. And then if they brought it up as like, what the flip is this? Just been like, I bought that at a souvenir shop. And yeah, out in the middle of nowhere in like rural Australia, which basically is what happened. I bought it from nature.
That's so true. That's so true.
My golly.
And then it would have been fine. I know people who've done similar things, like shipped similar things home and gotten away with it. Like, it's fine. And so I just think I didn't play my cards right because some people instilled fear in me that I was going to get big fines for trying. And so I need to declare it. But I don't think, in retrospect, I shouldn't have declared it. And so they pulled me up into agriculture, and the lady is like, what's going on? And I'm like, here's the thing. There's a kangaroo skull in there. And she's like, oh, that's cool. Anyways, can you go sit down? So I sit down for like 20 minutes.
Bro.
I've got 2 hours till my next flight. And so I'm like stressing.
Yeah.
So I sit down for 20 minutes, and then she calls me up, and she's like, so can you give me a little bit of clarification? I'm like, clarification. And she's like, cool. And then she's like, sit down for another 20 minutes. So I sit down for another 20 minutes, and then she pulls me up, and she's like, can I see them? And so I like grab my bag, and I open it up. My bags are broken.
Rip.
They're like, the wheels don't even work. My arms are sore. I've had probably 6 hours of sleep in the last 72 hours because I didn't even sleep the time before going on the flight. And then it's like 48 hours travel overall.
Yeah.
And I'm on the last like 4-hour stretch. Like, please. And so I hoist this bag up, open it up. I'm like, there it is. It's packaged. In the moment, as she was opening the package, it's like in a cardboard box, and then like tons of like bubble wrap, and there's like layers of bubble wrap, and she's like going through the layers, like, what the flip is this? And I just felt so bad.
That was that was a direct quote.
Yeah.
What the flip is
I could
this?
see it in her eyes. Her eyes were like, what the crap? Like, this is new. So I made someone's day, obviously, which I'm so glad. I hope that she remembers that forever. But anyways, she like has me sit down a little bit more, and I can see her fiddling around on the computer, and she's probably trying to figure it out. She's being super helpful and nice. And then she pulls me up, and she's like, so look, this is what we're going through. This is what we're doing. And she's like, if I go to the website and I go through to this tool, which is basically what tells us if we're allowed to let you have this or not, which is the same tool I used, but it's so... It so doesn't have a classification for kangaroo skulls.
It should.
It should. It's like other generalizations.
Come on.
And so what she does is she breaks it down, and she's like, we're looking, and she's like, this is what we're going to settle on. And she's like, kangaroo. What type of kangaroo? Gray kangaroo. And she's like, from where? Obviously not Antarctica.
Canada.
That was an option. Antarctica. She's like, Oceania, Australia. And what is the end use of this kangaroo? And she just puts down other. And then it's like, yeah, no, you need a permit for that. And so if I was to import a gray kangaroo of either alive or dead quality in any capacity
You should just brought a
or
real
measurement,
kangaroo that was alive.
I know, I would have needed a permit. And
Bro.
for some reason, my processed kangaroo skull that is now a souvenir, basically. I should have like put art on it or something, or like drawn on it and been like, it's an art project. You know, like that's literally how close I was to getting away with this. I could have like shot a clear coat of lacquer on it and it would have been fine. But just the way I declared it and the way it was, it got put down as just kangaroo, just unspecified kangaroo. What's the end use? Whatever you want. And then they were like, no, you need a permit because we're not letting any Joe Blow through with a whole freaking kangaroo. And I'm like, this isn't a whole freaking kangaroo. And they're like, sorry, we don't have a category to distinguish between whole kangaroo and like kangaroo skull.
It's a hole in the system.
And so they took it in Vancouver.
And that's-
My theory is she just wanted that skull.
She probably has it in her, not flat, her room is sloped, but she probably has it displayed there.
Maybe her kangaroo pelvis was that she always wanted a kangaroo skull, and this was like
wow.
the once in a lifetime opportunity.
Honestly.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that story. It's so it's regrettable. Yeah, that's a word. Producers, is that a word? Regrettable?
Oh,
Okay.
totally.
It's regrettable that you don't have it still.
I know.
But the pelvis still lives on
Souvenir.
in Australia.
In Australia.
And you have a vertebrae.
And you have the
I did.
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
He does a
So
vertebrae.
they didn't get all the bones. I had
It's
a
like
couple
the
other bones.
happy ending at the end.
Throughout my luggage
popcorn
because
again.
I wasn't gonna put all of my
I spilled it.
bones in one basket.
Obviously.
And
That'd be dangerous.
yeah, so I had one of the like vertebrae in a little like Anzac biscuit tin, that was stuffed full of like documents and other important things. I had like a really cool ring I got my mom
Let's go.
with like some opals and stuff in there, like just all the important stuff.
Yeah.
I like shoved in this thing over the course of my mission, and then yeah, of course I stuck a kangaroo bone because it's small and it's a souvenir and it's important, and so it goes in my small souvenir important container box, and then it's made of metal, and so whatever. It got beaten the frick up though, like in transit. It came out the other end and it was battle bruised and scarred.
Dang.
So metal boxes do not go nicely through.
Dang.
But the kangaroo skull seemed pretty intact when she looked at it.
That's
So I think the moral of this story is, you know, we all have kangaroo pelvises in our lives, right?
We do.
We have our own pelvises too, but we have kangaroo pelvises that are our dreams and our aspirations, and sometimes life steals our skull. It steals our ribs,
Hate when that happens.
and the policies don't include kangaroos, even Antarctican.
Sounds like I should
No,
go
it
into
did
agriculture
include-
policy making and includes
You
kangaroo
should. That should be
skulls.
your life. This should be your fourth.
It
I've
should-
honestly thought about
be.
policy.
It should be.
Kangaroo policy.
I could be the change that needs to be made.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
but
I
at
do
the
want
more-
to specify though.
Oh, yeah.
It did include Antarctic kangaroos, just not the specific body parts of kangaroos
Oh,
or their processed forms.
dang. Well,
That was the shortcut.
moral of the story is, at the end of the day, we still have a vertebrae, and we can go. The pelvis always lives on. We just have to strive to seek it.
Exactly.
Yep.
I could probably FaceTime those guys and then be like, "Hey, can I see the pelvis?"
Well, I think this has been the most quintessential episode of this podcast so far. We've learned so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you taken away from this?
What
Anna?
I've taken away is that man was not man until the rib was taken away.
Yeah.
It made a woman
Right.
complete. And so it's kind of like that, like, you know, you can't be whole if you don't lose the kangaroo pelvis.
Right. Like, to insert
In
some
the skull.
scripture into this, because we've been doing that.
Yeah.
Like, there's opposition in all things. There's our ribs are taken away in a good way, but bad way, and our skulls are shattered. Or
Symbolic.
put in people's non-flat flats and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
okay.
And what really matters at the end is the journey along the way, you know.
And the friends you made along the way,
you
too.
Mm-hmm.
the friends you made along the way, the stove you found,
Right.
the boiling the bones, the laundry that now smells bad. Like
Right.
all
Oh
of
my
that
Yeah.
of that was important and made you who you are today. And so even if you don't have the skull with you, the skull will always live within you.
Right.
Oh, I would say.
Skull lives in all of us, but the pelvis is what we strive for.
Mhm.
I decided my band is now going to be called Antarctican Kangaroo Pelvis.
Antarctic kangaroos.
It's going to be a good, yeah.
Yo,
We're gonna have a hit
Arctic
next year.
kangaroos.
Monkeys, you got Antarctic.
Or the Arctic kangaroos, yeah.
No, Antarctic kangaroos.
Antarctic.
Yeah.
Antarctic
Because there's like the
kangaroos.
Arctic monkeys. I want to be
Exactly.
different than that.
True,
Antarctic
true.
kangaroos.
Shoo up, shoo up, shoo up, shoo up. Do you know that song?
No.
Wow. I was listening to that today. Anyways,
No.
well, Jeven,
I don't know that
this
one.
has been
I
amazing.
do like Arctic monkeys though.
Thank you for traveling all this way to come here.
Yeah,
So
it took
far.
me like maybe 120 seconds to walk here.
121, I think.
121? You might be
And
right.
I thank you for making the trek here as well.
Yeah, it took also about a whole minute.
Whole minute. Wow. Well, at this point, we have the lo-fi hip-hop beat just like... Any
Can you
final
guys-
comments?
I can beatbox.
Do it.
I can't be black. Sorry.
Jeven.
Try it.
That's my other kangaroo pelvis.
Kangaroo pelvis. Well, thank you for listening to this episode. Find your pelvis. The kangaroo one.